Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Brittany Castillo. I'm a wedding photographer here in Wilmington. I'm here with Jessica Harmon,
Hey guys.
my longtime good friend as well as colleague. We have been working weddings together for 10 years.
Isn't that crazy?
It's wild.
Thanks for putting friend before colleague. I like
Hey,
that.
You are a friend first. And we are so excited to be here today just to share some of the things that we've learned over the years. Three top things that we're going to talk about are your guest list, picking a vendor, your vendors and your venue, as well as picking your date.
I mean, really, how to get started. Because
Yeah.
it can be, it's all exciting.
Yeah.
You just got engaged. And then the overwhelming feeling of, where do I begin?
Yes. So
Sets in. So that's what we're going to be taking care of today, and hopefully providing you guys with a lot of answers to your questions and resources to then go forth with.
yeah, let's get started. The first thing you need to think about really is your guest list, because you can't pick a venue without knowing what the capacity is, and you don't want to pick a venue that has a 200-person capacity and you have a small 50-person wedding, because you're going to have all that space to fill either with decor or just going to be like empty space. It's going to feel awkward. And in the same breath, you don't want to have a 200-person wedding at a 100-person venue where people don't have anywhere to sit down and it's awkward or just uncomfortable. But so getting your guest list will help determine the venue. And then, between your venue options and the date, it kind of depends. Some people have a date in mind. They're like, this is the date we met 4 years ago. We want this to be our wedding date. And other people have more of like, we're kind of flexible. We want it to be at the end of September.
But I have to have this venue.
I have to have this venue.
So you have to stay flexible on your date.
Which, there are so many weddings that happen in Wilmington. Like every weekend in the spring and the fall, there's probably 50 weddings that happen every weekend here, just between the different venues, the churches, the convention centers. So if you are, say, you've got an impending deployment or something, you're like, we need to get married in the next 6 months. You are probably not going to have a lot of Saturdays available at somewhere like the Atrium or Wrightsville Manor or Malachi Meadows that they book out, they're booking 2027 probably now, know? So that's another thing to keep in mind. Yeah, staying flexible. And, there's a lot of people are doing Friday and Sunday weddings now. I get some people are very have their heart set on Saturdays, or even if people are coming from out of town, they kind of have to do it on a Saturday because people have to travel. But just giving yourself the appropriate time. I think a lot of people try and plan for at least a year engagement. But again, it might be longer if you're waiting till you finish school, or it might be sooner if you have, sometimes people have family members that are getting sick and they're not sure if they're going to be there in a year. So these are just all things to consider when you pick your date. It is very a very personal decision, but just know that you're going to have to be able to ebb and flow if it is sooner rather than later, because your options will be limited as far as picking your top vendors.
Well, and it's interesting because we're going to get there further on this discussion, but everything really does revolve around your guest list and how many guests you plan on having. You can't, without having a general idea, go forward to pick your venue. You have to know whether your crowd can even fit in those doors. On that, what's also based on your guest list is your budget, your cost of your food, catering, the beer and wine we spoke of that people are so excited about. And then, the thought of linens and tables. You have to a lot of times rent those things. So much of it depends on the guest list. The ironic part is that that's something that you don't have a final head count on until a month before your wedding?
It's really crazy.
So it's this interesting juggle of having your best vision in mind and then being able to pivot a little bit, being able to stay flexible, especially when it comes to the guest count.
And once you have your guest list and you've kind of picked a date / a venue, the next logical step would be to save the date so people know to remember your wedding. What are your thoughts on paper versus electronic?
This is the big debate because electronic invites have been around long enough now.
To where it's not cheesy. It's not a cop-out.
It's not cheesy. It's not a cop-out. It was the proper thing to send something in the mail, a physical something. But I got to be honest with you, so many people spend so much money sending paper invites for people just to throw them in the trash. I got one
Beautiful
I
stationery.
even admired it. I took an extra glance at it, and to be honest with you, I threw it in the trash. I have the save the date on the fridge. I don't need the invitation. And people spend so much money. My only suggestion is,
It does give someone like something physical to hold.
and it is gorgeous.
Yes, but how often do they actually send those RSVP cards back in? I did. I'm having a 10-year anniversary in July, and I sent out electronic emails, invites through paperless post. And wouldn't you know, the person that's sitting next to me still hasn't RSVP'd. Okay. No,
Okay.
but
That's totally true. I'm sorry.
it is
I'll be
true.
there.
This
But,
is very.
it's like those text messages. You almost reply in your head, and then you forget to actually physically do that. So just plan to know that your guests are going to stink at sending those RSVPs in, and then you're going to have to chase them around for that RSVP. So while paper invites are beautiful, I do like electronic. With that being said,
They do the automatic things on paperless post. You can set it like in 3 weeks, send a reminder email. So
Okay.
I don't even have to think about it. I already set it. When I sent out the invites, I already set the reminders.
the reminder is the
Yeah.
most beautiful part about electronic invitations. You, as the bride or the planner, don't have to pester with it again. It will literally automatically remind your guests to RSVP. Hey, are you going to this? Be a good friend and let your friend know you're coming. I love that about them.
Yeah.
My only thought is if you insist on going paper, I suggest ordering a sample of the type of paper, the type of invitation that you want. A lot of times people don't realize how heavy that paper can get, and or if you're having the RSVP envelope in there, it begins to get heavy. Something that can throw you off your budget is if your postage is twice as much as you expected it to be.
That's a good point.
It seems silly, but when you're
You
sending
need
out
3 stamps on there. It's $1.50 each, and you got
doesn't look
150.
that pretty either.
Yeah.
And when you're sending out 200 of those, that money can add up and throw off your budget.
That's a good point. And then you're chasing these people around. So it's just another thing to be aware of. I like the idea of sending out a paper save the date. People still get your photo, and it's something tangible. They'll remember it. They put it on their calendar. But then sending
on my
out,
fridge. I get to see it all the time.
Yeah, and then sending a electronic RSVP, just because I am a business owner and a mom, and I don't have time to chase people around and try and get RSVPs. And most people that are planning a wedding are either in college or they have, real jobs, and they've got a life too. And planning a wedding can take up so much, which brings us to our next point.
It can take over.
It can take over. Do-it-yourself brides are great. I love do-it-yourself brides because I feel like you and I are both kind of like crafty do-it-yourself people, and I feel like I really connect with them. But I really feel like most brides end up feeling like they're losing their minds by the end of the planning process.
Well, and I think people choose to do it themselves due to budget. And while I understand that, I was one of them, and I've been in this industry for a long time, and my wedding wasn't a disaster by any means, but it was chaotic because I didn't have a planner.
Or a coordinator. I mean, you don't have to have
Day of coordinator,
Yes.
1000%.
Yeah.
You need him or her.
need
You
a day of
have to
coordinator.
have.
Invest your money in a day of coordinator. Even if you buy a Publix cake, even if you get white plain tablecloths, no one cares about your tablecloths. If you don't have a good coordinator, you are going to feel so fried by the end of your wedding day. People are going to be coming up to you asking you for, we need this, where's this? You don't want to have to deal with that. No. You're going to be already a little nervy. You're going to have all your favorite people in a room and your family, and you don't want to be thinking about, hey, where are the rest of the napkins and where are the plates for the cake table,
Well, and the coordinator is almost the gatekeeper for you to enjoy your day without having to deal with all those details. A lot of people think they can do without. A lot of people think Aunt Janet is going to do it.
Oh my gosh, not Aunt Janet again.
I had the Aunt Janet.
Oh no.
It got wild before dinner even happened.
Was Aunt Janet drunk by dinner? was she the lady from your story at the beginning?
I didn't have a day of coordinator. My dinner was late, so most of my guests were drunk before dinner. It was just chaotic. The planner is so important. I just can't even express. It just takes care of so many things, and it takes the responsibility off your plate to handle all these little issues. And issues will come up. That's normal at every wedding. A lot of guests don't notice it at all. Hopefully nobody will notice. Hopefully you as the bride won't even notice because you'll have a day of coordinator who will just take care of those things for you.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about the wedding where I think you might have been with me. I can't remember the bride's name right now, and not that I'd want to say it right here, but yes. she had this like really unique ring. Maybe you remember it has like 2 diamonds. It's like really, I don't know. It was a lot. But her dress had been, she didn't try her dress on after they had put the bustle in or after it had been altered or something. And the seamstress or whoever had altered it and put the bustle in had caught a couple layers of the tulle and the fabric from like the side. So her dress, when she put it on, the whole thing was like twisted to the side. Like it looked like it had a kink in it. And
I remember that because I tried to unfold that fold so many times.
Tried. What it was is, and I mean, she looked at me and she's like, just do what you can. We had a pair of scissors and we had to snip a little string, which was the string that was hanging it all up. But
also
I mean,
terrifying going
it was
into
also
a wedding
terrifying.
dress
But
with
again,
scissors.
and this was 20 minutes before the ceremony. And, you know, we're trying to get everyone lined up and it's like, wow, that's, you know, you got to try on your dress before the big day. Also, another thing is to have a backup dress, which is such a random like thought. I think a lot of people just are like, I just spent $1,000 on this dress. Why would I need two? I told you, I think you were actually with me on that wedding at Bakery where the girl, they put her in the chair, like the traditional hora, like a Jewish dance where they put them in the chair and they dance around with them. It's getting really popular among like non-Jewish people too, because it's kind of a fun party trick, you know, put everyone in the chair and dance around with them. They put the bride in this chair and started dancing around with her. And she, I think, got unstable and like leaned forward to catch herself. The entire back of her dress, the zipper just popped open. Yeah. It was like shape, I mean, from like,
I mean, I got a sew kit in my bag, but I'm not sewing your zipper back on.
There was no hope for that. So, but thankfully, she had a reception dress planned. And so she just changed into it a little bit earlier. But just to make this a note to anyone that even if you don't want to like go out and buy a whole other dress, bring your rehearsal dinner dress. Bring something. Anything. So you're not in like the robe you got ready in or something as your only other option to switch out of your wedding dress into.
And grooms too. Grooms and dads. You know, mother of the bride, maybe, I don't know, accidents happen. But we had a groom one time, somebody hugged him with a glass of red wine. And next thing you know, he had red wine. Luckily, it was all down his back and not his front. But it was definitely before family formals. So,
yeah,
you know, thank goodness he had a jacket and it was all good. But
anything white.
things happen. You know.
I was talking to Lydia the other day. Her sister-in-law, I guess, she was really into espresso martinis. So that's what they had on her wedding day. And someone like bumped into her and it went just all down her front. I think she had an extra dress too, but.
Can we just not with martini glasses though? Like that's asking for
really,
it. I can't hold one without.
It's the danger zone. It's really fun what we get to do, like working in the wedding industry, because I feel like, you know, you do get the occasional high energy people that are very nervous, or I don't want to call them bridezillas because I feel like that's such like a negative term, but
it's a lot of emotions that
there's
day.
a lot of emotions that day. And I feel like, again, going back to just it being like the ultimate human experience, with being able to like get a little glimpse into people's lives and their dynamics and, you know, their mom and their dad and their siblings, and it's just, we're all so unique and different, but we're all so the same.
Love's just good. I'm here for the love.
Love's just good. What was your all-time favorite wedding that we've shot together, Jess?
I don't know. I cried them all because they're all so emotional. It's usually the daddy-daughter dance or the first dance. That usually gets me. Dad's toast always gets me too.
Oh my gosh.
My favorite wedding, I don't know. It's really tough. I don't think I have one.
That one we just did was really fabulous at Malachi.
They're all fabulous in their own way. I think I just really love love.
Angela and Wyatt's wedding downtown with the send-off. Were you there for the send-off? Okay, this bride, she was just so sweet and easy to deal. Angela, I love you. If you're watching this, I love you, Angela. Yes, with the boat send-off. Okay, so she had her wedding at 128 South, got ready at the cottage, but then at the end of the night, they had a band, and the band followed them, led them down the streets with like their horns and saxophones.
It was so grand.
And then they got sent off on a boat. I mean, only in the port city of Wilmington could you something so cool as that.
It was pretty amazing.
It was really cool. So, I mean, your wedding is
logistics that didn't just happen.
No, we had Monica with Making Memories events.
Wonderful.
Yes,
she gets the job done.
Yeah. But again, this is your wedding. You can make it as big, as small as you want it. I think there's a lot of like waste on like trying to keep up with the Joneses, and people are thinking like, hey, what kind of favors? I need to have a favor.
Nobody takes their favors anyways. You
you
have
know what
so
was-
many left over.
Yeah. Well, were you at Marissa's wedding? She had
I
this
mean, I take the favors of my loved ones that get married,
Yes,
but
yes.
a lot of people just
the
forget.
koozies. How many koozies do you have from weddings?
Oh my God, so
A
many
million
koozies.
koozies.
But koozies are cute, and I don't like a cold hand, so
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's true. For at the wedding, it is nice to have if you're gonna have beers. One that I thought was really cute recently, they had scratch offs and it said, "I hope you get as lucky as we are," or something. It was just like a little $1 scratch off.
Oh,
So
I
you
love
have like
that. That's
120
really cute.
guests. It's $120. It's actually pretty cheap, but some people might actually walk away with something, And every single one of those scratchers was gone at the end of the night, guys. I'll tell you what, there weren't any left on the table.
that's really fun. I like
Yeah,
that idea.
was a fun little, it was a fun little thing. Bubble exit, or sparkler exit.
You know how I feel about this. Okay, so if you're going
Next.
to ask me personally,
This is on record, so
exits are tough for me.
you never
I
want the night to
feel-
end.
You know what? That's exactly it, Brittany.
Yeah. For me,
No.
I think an exit is really a good idea, whether it is bubble or sparkler, because what's the alternative? Just turning on the lights and turning off the music and being like, well, have a great night. It's over now.
It does present an awkward
Yeah.
moment if you don't have an exit. And the exit is really glorious. Everybody gets around you and they cheer and they yell and they shout and they blow their kisses and they send you off now as a married couple, as one.
And you don't have to say goodbye to everybody. You can just like
that's really
skip
nice.
out. Yeah.
I do like that.
Yeah, and they're honestly pretty cheap too. Like sparklers, I think for a pack, it's like 40 or 50 bucks, which in wedding like world money, that's like free compared to what everything else you're spending money on. But it's really a cheap add-on to just kind of wrap it up. Some places do have limitations. I know some venues don't love sparklers.
Well, it's fire.
You're giving fireworks to people that have been drinking with hairspray in their hair. Like there's a liability thing there going on. But if you are able to get away with it, they are fun.
They are fun and they do create a beautiful moment of an exit. You're right.
Yeah.
And it is nice to so at the end of the night, there are all these emotions because you do spend so much of your time being engaged planning this wedding. It's kind of like Thanksgiving dinner. You spend all day cooking and then everybody's done eating in 20 minutes. It's like, well, what do we do now? So at the end of the night, I do like the exit because it does just kind of cap off the end of the evening. But don't feel weird if it's an emotional moment for you because it is all coming to not an end, but a
Wedding
beginning.
hangover, though. People do have like wedding
stop.
planning hangovers.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
I wouldn't doubt it because it is a lot and you spend a lot of your time doing it. But it is a great moment. Don't feel awkward when it's over. Like that's the next step. And now you're going to go live your life as a married couple. It's beautiful.
I know. I feel like some people get so into the wedding planning that they like forget like you're getting married. Like this is like this whole like big shift in your life, you know? With that being said, let's shift over to venues. I kind of broke it down between venues that can accommodate 150 or more because I feel like that's kind of a threshold, right? Like 150 or less, 150 or more. And again, if you're planning a wedding and you have a ton of time to plan, you might have a lot of options. If you're planning a shorter engagement, if you have a shorter engagement, you're going to be limited with options. So with that being said, I'm going to list off a couple of my favorite venues in the area that are 100% worth checking out. Absolutely recommend touring them and getting in there with your maid of honor or your mom and just really like feeling the space in person.
Or your fiance.
Or your fiance. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Fiance's okay. In my defense, grooms usually, what is the saying? Happy wife, happy life. Like
grooms
90.
get the short end of the stick in this
I've
whole
had-
getting married situation.
In the last like 11 years of working weddings, I've had 2 grooms that even have an opinion. I feel like
It's true.
It's
They
really
normally don't
true.
care. Just make it happen.
Sorry, grooms, if you're listening to this, we care about your opinion too. But in no particular order. However, I will start by saying I love Malachi Meadows, so they are my first. They can accommodate 150, 175, I believe. Again, these numbers, you need to check in with them because you might have a cocktail style, you might have all seated. So check in with them to get the exact numbers, but they can accommodate a decent amount of people, larger groups. Malachi
Awesome.
Meadows, they're in Curry. It's just 20 minutes from Wilmington, from downtown Wilmington. So they're a great option as far as being close, but not like, in the heart of downtown.
And they have awesome outdoor and indoor space.
That is a good point.
Beautiful venue, great people to work with. Check them out.
Indoor space is really key there because they have the pavilion, which is covered, which is nice. I've seen ceremonies done there. Kyle.
Also as a plan B too, if it rains, great plan B areas there.
They have a bride suite and a groom suite, which is really nice if you want both people to be getting ready like on site, and tons of parking. So that's great. Malachi Meadows, we love you. Another really great one, Slate and Cypress, also a little bit further away. Calabash, it is less than an hour from Wilmington. I struggled with, do I include them because it's not like exactly Wilmington area, but it's close enough. And honestly, it's such a stunning venue. I mean, Slate and Cypress is so stunning.
It is stunning. Again, great outdoor and indoor accommodations.
Yeah. It's like Tuscany inspired. It kind of has like this like Napa Valley feel. It's really
patio,
yeah. Oh, it's their patio, their cocktail hour area is so special. So Slate and Cypress, very beautiful. They can accommodate, I believe, about 200 people as well. Airlie Gardens, another big one. They have, I think, 3 different locations. There's the little chapel, Lebanon Chapel, which is super cute.
Is gorgeous.
Yeah, and it can't hold a ton of people, but it's cute. It's tight. It's it's very like old fashioned feeling. It's a
nice
historic
for a
building.
small wedding.
Yes. And then again, if you are getting married in the chapel, there you're inside. So if it is drizzling or something or really sunny, you're protected from that. It is not air conditioned or heated, though. I will say the Lebanon Chapel does not have.
Oh, it's just open air.
Yeah, and they usually leave the windows open, so you kind of feel like you're outside, but you're covered. So
I do really want to. We're gonna have to circle back on a different episode about venues because there is so much to consider. Even logistically, when you go to pick your venue, and I'm getting off topic of specific venues, but considering venues that are slightly on the outskirts of town, or do they have a bridal suite or a groom suite? All those things lead to your path of logistics, and transportation is one that's big that I think people really overlook. Is, well, how are you getting to your ceremony site if you're not getting ready there at a bridal or groom suite? How are you getting there? Yeah, we can all jump in our friend's car or in our mom's car, but what is parking like? Does
if
your
you're getting
venue
married downtown and it's Ironman weekend.
Yeah. Is there even going to be parking there? Or is somebody just dropping you off at the front door and they'll be back in 30 minutes after they parked? So again, logistically with your venue, these are all things that you do want to begin to consider.
Yeah, like if you're getting married, say at Malachi Meadows, you might want to get in touch with Azalea Limousines or some other kind of private service that can transport your guests, because nothing is less cool than a DUI or hurting somebody while you're drinking and driving. So don't do that. Be safe. If you're at a wedding and there's an open bar and you drink, do not drive. But Azalea Limousine is a great option, and you can get multiple bus loads. Again, if you're getting married on a Saturday in May, you might be limited on how many people are available to do that for you. So keeping that in mind.
As soon as you have your date, secure your vendors.
Yeah, secure your other vendors. So Airlie, again, circling back to Airlie, just going through the venue options that are like, I would say my top picks, most people's top picks in the area. Airlie has that little chapel. They have the big oak tree that everyone loves to get married in front of. And then they have the pergola garden, which is so pretty. It has the jasmine and little like tunnel that goes down to the water and like the fountain down there. So that's really pretty. Wrightsville Manor, gorgeous.
Stunning.
Stunning. Wrightsville Manor is one of the premier wedding venues in the area.
And they can host a large a large guest count.
They are probably booked through 2028. No. No, but really.
So get on the list.
Get on the list. No, but really, they have like very few Saturdays available. It is a very like sought after venue. So if you are heart set on Wrightsville Manor, get in touch with them immediately, basically, and know that it might be a Friday or Sunday. Some people are doing Thursday weddings. I mean, some people are doing Monday weddings. Literally wild, but
because everybody's all about a Saturday, and obviously it's easier, I guess, for people that travel.
And you can be hungover on Sunday, so it's if you have work.
There you go. But what are your thoughts on other day options?
I think Fridays can be acceptable, especially if you're doing like a destination wedding and you're making it a long weekend. I think Sundays are a good option too. I think it really depends on what your guest list looks like and
Where they're coming from.
And if a lot of them are, you say you have 5 sisters and they all have 4 kids and they're all in school and it's a destination wedding, and now suddenly if it's not on a Saturday, they're missing Friday or Monday of school. So, that's just, but you will end up getting discounts. A lot of places offer discounts.
Yep.
I offer weekday discounts. I know a lot of people do because obviously everyone wants a Saturday. There's only so many Saturdays. There's not a lot of wiggle room there. You can't really discount something that's in high demand.
Yeah.
But weekdays, Sundays, and even like off season, like I was saying, like, okay, ideally not an August or a January wedding, but even if you're getting married in, February or March, it's kind of fringe season and it can be really nice here. I mean, like you said, it was 70 the other day.
It was gorgeous. My sister got married on a Monday.
That's so funny.
Nothing like a Monday.
Yeah.
It makes me want to celebrate.
It's nice and cheap, huh? No,
But
I'm kidding.
she did know her venue was half price.
I know,
I mean,
it's
when
great.
she
Yeah.
crunched the numbers and it was literally half of what a Saturday would have cost, my sister was like, where do I sign?
Yeah. And if you have a small group and you're saying like, 20, 30 people,
It worked
all
for her.
works. Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
So, sorry, back to our list.
No, so yeah, I think we said Malachi, Slate and Cypress, Airlie, Wrightsville Manor. I like Bakery 105.
Going
a lot.
downtown, I do too.
Yeah, I love Bakery 105. They have a good outside option, which is their little patio area, and then the inside option. And I don't think the cottage is like included, but it's an add-on. So they have like a little bridal suite across the street on Orange Street. Bakery does, and I think 128 uses it too. The cottage. Yeah. It's a nice little spot to get ready in. It kind of has enables brides to have all their stuff, and couples in general, to have all their stuff right there, easily accessible if they need it, but still out of the way of the venue. So it's not like kind of intermingled with guests and children that might be running through and everything else. So Bakery 105 is great. Again, another indoor outdoor option. If it does rain, you do have that indoor plan. Old Homestead Farms.
Gorgeous.
So pretty.
Love it out there.
And, it's got more of like a farm vibe. So if you're kind of like outdoorsy, you're into horses. I think they have horses on the property. A lot of people get married right in front of that old oak tree. And they have the historic home on the property that I think is like
really
the getting
nice.
ready spot. And so that's really nice. You have everything in one spot. And then the reception hall can hold, I believe, about 200 people as well. Over 150. Then my next, oh my gosh, I love this next suggestion. I'm like obsessed with the atrium.
We get really excited when we get to photograph there.
yeah.
It's just so stunning.
It's beautiful.
And Laura is great to work with.
Yeah, Laura's great. And then one of the things I really like about the atrium is just how magic it feels. You're walking through the middle of downtown. All these buildings, downtown, all the buildings are like connected, just like one face. So then you walk by this one and it's this entryway and you peek in, and instead of it being like a building inside, it's like garden, a hidden garden in the middle of the city.
It's magic.
It's so magical.
The roof, there's part of the roof that is
covered,
and then there's
the
part
other
of the
part
roof that is open for the sunlight to shine through onto all these plants, and just stunning.
Well,
It's
and
great.
then what else is nice is because it's kind of in that nook is that it acts as a windbreak. So even if it's like a super windy day, it's really nice in there. They have the option to like move under the cover if needed for rain. Then they have the indoor area with their like really, you see the bar that they just redid in there. It's really pretty.
I haven't seen it yet.
That's really pretty. And then they have the bridal suite upstairs. The bridal suite at the atrium is amazing. It might be my favorite bridal suite. It's just, there's so much space. And when you have 8 girls, which to 10 girls getting ready, there are bags everywhere, and you need all the space. So love Atrium. Atrium is a smaller venue, so it doesn't work for everybody. It really shines with like about 80 guests seated. I know they can do cocktail style seating up to like, I think 100 and something.
Don't quote you.
Yeah, don't quote me on that. Definitely reach out to Laura Horton. She's amazing. But it is so beautiful. And if you are planning on a more intimate, 80, less than 100 people wedding, it's a must-see if you want. And the other thing that's convenient about downtown is that if you have guests, especially coming from like out of town, they're staying at hotels right there. If you guys want to go to the bars afterwards or just go around downtown, you just right there. Everything's right there. It's really easy to get an Uber or Lyft. Again, being like very guest-centric, you can't really beat like a downtown
really nice.
location. Yeah. So bouncing back over to the beach is my next recommendation would be Shell Island, which is good for about 125 people too. It's just really easy. I mean, I I don't want to like dog Shell Island's reception area. It's just very simple. It's got glass. You can see out to the ocean.
Yeah.
But it could be perfect for a business meeting too. It doesn't have like exactly a wedding feel
Vibe, yeah.
until you add your flowers and your linens and stuff in there. But it's so easy. And you can
I
get married.
have seen magic happen in those rooms.
Yes. Yeah. And you can get married right there on the beach, right in front of it. So if you want to have a beach wedding and you're going to have 120 guests, a lot of people are coming from out of town. Again, it's just kind of logistically a no-brainer.
It's nice.
At Shell Island because everyone can stay right there. You can get married right in front of the hotel. Come back in afterwards for the reception. If you need
to
different
run up to
shoes,
your room?
yes, you want to change your shoes.
Logistics.
So Shell Island is, and they have just great staff. They're amazing. And then down at the beach as well is Oceanic and Blue Water.
Fabulous sites to get married at.
Yep.
Great rooms.
Oceanic has that space upstairs, the loft, that's like great for 60 to 70 people, which again, if you have a smaller crowd, you don't want to get married at a 200 person.
It looks empty.
It looks empty and you have to fill all that space. So
And the view is stunning.
the view is stunning.
You're
at
right there on the
Oceanic.
beach.
Yes.
It's great.
So Oceanic's another really, I mean, even just for like a rehearsal dinner or welcome dinner, that little room up there is perfect. Which brings us to Ray Baca's place, Bellevue downtown.
Hey, Baca.
Save the best for last. Baca is the reason why Jess and I actually know each other. The first wedding I worked in Wilmington, she was there working with Ray. So shout out to Ray Baca and Bellevue downtown.
Thanks, Ray.
Bellevue is, I mean, going back to just like logistics and having good people on your team, Ray really cares about
will make it happen,
he
whatever
really
it
cares about his
is.
people. And again, it's a smaller venue, really good for 50, 60 people, and you don't have to do a lot of decorating. It's just it's all kind of there for you. He's got that nice little nook out in the back with the plants and
I
stuff,
love
little
that out
patio
there.
area. So if you're looking for just like a rehearsal dinner spot or you have a really small group, I've seen magic at
Or
Bellevue.
Sunday brunch after your wedding that's a
Yeah.
great spot for the brunch. I love it.
So thank you so much for listening to us today, talking about the first steps to, planning your wedding, some things that you should know and be aware of, some fun stories, and really looking forward to the future ones. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys.